We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Back at it, kicking off hour 2 here. Money Moves live from downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. VSiN, the sports betting network. Stormy, Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Still keeping tabs on all the live MLB we've got going on right now. Pittsburgh got 2 on the board now, so 4-2 as we are in the 9th inning here. Can Pittsburgh complete the rally after being down 4-0 in the 7th? We shall see. Cleveland up 5-2 over the Royals. Boston still maintaining that 3-0 lead here in the 5th. And Chicago up 2-1 over Baltimore. We talked about some of that sharp money coming in on Chicago at the plus money price. Could that be the play? Just the 3rd inning, so a long way to go here still in this one, but an early advantage there. And we are underway in Texas for the Mariners and Rangers, scoreless in the 2nd.
Yeah, that's the one I'm looking forward to. And been watching a little bit here, but Wu and Mackenzie Gore are going to be a really good pitching matchup, and these are 2 of the better ones in the American League West anyway. And 2 teams, like, look, we say this all the time. Hey, it's only 100. These games matter. And as somebody who likes his Texas team and has a bet on them to win the American League West, I would like them to win this series, even though it's April 8th. So this is one that I will be fully focused on here. I'll keep track of the show, don't worry. But no, these are important games. It was a big win for Texas to come back. They fell down 2-0 yesterday, ultimately rallied to win 3-2. So these games, they do matter. You don't get them back. We
do have a couple games that are set to get underway here in short order as well, including the World Series rematch that has been dominated by the Los Angeles Dodgers so far here through 2 games, taking on the Blue Jays. Dodgers have won the first 2 by a combined score of 18-3 JVT. I know half the Blue Jays roster is injured right now, but big pitching matchup here. Shohei Ohtani on the hill for the Dodgers. Dylan Cease for Toronto, their biggest offseason acquisition. When we look at the numbers, LA minus 163, road favorite to complete the sweep here. You can get plus 135 on Toronto if you think they can steal one. Run total 7.5.
A little nervous here, mainly from a fantasy perspective. But Dylan Cease gets the start for the Toronto Blue Jays, and we know what Cease can be. The strikeout stuff's awesome. The swing and miss, the whiff rate, all that kind of stuff. You can generate those at a pretty high level, but command can be an issue for him, and we have seen it so far. It's a short sample size, but he's walked just over 11% of the batters that he has faced, got into a little bit of hot water in his last start against the Chicago White Sox. Ultimately only lasted 4 1/3, did give up 2 earned runs, walked 3, though, and he's walked 5 in the 2 starts that he's had so far. And the Dodgers are, I don't know if you know this, a little bit better than the Chicago White Sox. So you're probably going to pay for it if you go out there and give up the free runners that you are. Now, as we always say, if you're balancing out the walks with strikeouts, you can go ahead and maybe make that work. But this is a Dodgers lineup that I don't think you're going to get to whiff very often. So I'm going to be curious to see what this looks like. So far through the early going of the season, 7th best strikeout rate as a lineup, the Dodgers. So don't think you're going to be able to generate those strikeouts to balance out the walks. And if the command's there, then you're going to pay for it at this point. So I'm a little worried about what Cease is going to have here against the Los Angeles Dodgers. By the way, did you see Ohtani last night?
What?
Oh, you didn't see the we got a peek of how good his English is getting.
Oh, no, I didn't see this.
Oh, he screamed the F word very loud after he got hit in the elbow. There was I think it was a pickoff attempt or something like that, and the opposing catcher, the Blue Jays catcher, dinged him in the elbow. And you just heard really? I'll show you the clip. It was pretty good.
That's really funny. See if he can keep his streak going. Got a couple of them entering today. Scoreless streak, 22 1/3 innings, and an on-base streak of 42 straight games. Meanwhile, on this 5-game winning streak for the Dodgers as well, they have covered that run line. So if you're interested in playing the Dodgers that way at a plus money price, plus 109 on LA.
We should note with Ohtani, if you like short sample size theater, he does have an ERA, or a FIP of 315 and expected fielding independent of over 4 after just 1 start. So his command issues were there too a little bit, and very lucky on balls in play, 0.077 on the batting average on balls in play. We're talking, again, 1 start. So you don't want to read too much into it unless you really want to. And then if that's the case, he's due for a beating here tonight.
Also,
or today, I guess, starting here in a little bit.
Yeah, in a few minutes. First pitch in a few minutes as well for Astros Rockies out there at Coors Field. Rockies, after the 2-6 start, won 3 straight, including both games so far against Houston. 9-7 Monday, 5-1 yesterday. Astros favored -136 with Christian Javier on the hill. Michael Lorenzen going for Colorado, +113 on the money line. Run total 11. We love home games at Coors Field, baby. You're going to get those high totals. Yep. What do you make of this one?
By the way, your Padres are at least increasing the deficit right here, 5-2. They are up on top, and I think we get a near bases clearing double here.
Let's go.
Top of the 9th inning. This one's not really that sexy. You've got two guys that, through the early going of the season, have ERAs in the double digits. This doesn't look like it's going to be one that is worth writing home about. I guess if you want to say something, maybe you get a higher scoring game again. Javier, through the 8 1/3 that he has pitched so far, little unlucky on the home runs. He has allowed, I think, he allowed 2 in his last or his first start. Didn't give up any in his last, but here at Coors, the ball has a penchant for getting out of the park. And so if you're going to have some of those issues, giving up those fly balls, maybe there's something there. But I'll be interested to see, morbidly curious to see what this game looks like for the Houston Astros.
We know how the Money Moves group chat can get going. The same, I'm sure, for those of you listening, watching at home with you and your friends. And if that is the case, Cut was built for you. Cut's a social betting platform that lets you bet directly against your friends right now and other users on basically anything. It's really cool. Whether you want to talk sports, politics, pop culture, even personal bets you can make. Every bet's fully customizable within the app, pre-funded, which means no more chasing somebody down if they lose, no flaking, no excuses, just results. And unlike traditional betting apps these days, Cut actually gives you cash back on every bet you make as well, even against your friends. You can get a 20% deposit bonus right now on your first deposit. Use the promo code VSiN, that's VSIN. Head over to cut.com today, that's KUTT.com, or download in the App Store and use promo code VSiN. I know last segment we were joking a little bit about some of those really big spreads that are in the NBA. The Bucks getting 20.5 in Detroit, taking on the top seed Pistons. You've got the Grizzlies getting 23.5 in Denver, taking on the Nuggets. But we have seen a lot of these tanking teams and bad teams getting totally torched lately. Is there any angle that we can get down on in some of these games? I think the Bucks are just interesting right now because all of the off-court drama that's been going on. You see the big report from Shams Charania. Then you've got their GM talking to the Milwaukee Sentinel or whatever it is in the Athletic about how, no, Giannis is really hurt. He's really not cleared. It's a whole thing. What do you make of this?
Well, first off, Giannis is annoying. That's like the very first part about this. In that big piece that you're talking about, Shams reports that Giannis and his people went to the Bucks initially and did ask for a trade, and yet he's been playing the part of, I wanted to be here the whole time. It's stupid. Like, this needs to happen. You know, this is the couple that fights in public all of the time. You need to just sever this thing and get it over with so then we don't have to hang out with you anymore. And I think this is the same thing here. I mean, the angle today is Cade Cunningham should be back for the Detroit Pistons. He's listed as questionable, but he's going to be on the floor. You get a 20.5 point spread. I don't know. Do you go first half here with the Pistons? Do you think that they can cover 11.5 against a Bucks team that clearly hates Doc Rivers and just wants this thing to be over with? Maybe that's something that can actually hold up here against Milwaukee.
Google me.
Yeah, Google me is. I think I've said this before on the air. There is a VSiN host who, in an argument, did drop the Google Me line.
No.
Yes, in the early goings of the Vegas Stats and Information Network.
For anyone, by the way, who didn't know, Doc Rivers did that in a speech to the team this season. But go ahead.
Yes, and it was not a rallying cry like Doc's. It was a full-on argument, Google Me, bro.
Yes.
This team, it's just falling apart at the seams. So Pistons, though, here's the problem when you talk about these big spreads. Pistons have nothing to play for. They're locked into the 1 seed. This is just about getting guys back. Isaiah Stewart as well should be back here today. Just getting some run and getting out. So maybe it's the first quarter. Maybe you just play the Bucks because the point spread is inflated against a team that has nothing to play for at all, and they can just simply limp into staying inside of 20.5 points today.
You called your shot yesterday on Denver. What do you think about the 23.5 spread against Memphis, total 246.5? I
mean, it's the same thing. It's going to be impossible to lose this game. So if you want to throw together a ridiculous money line parlay of Detroit, Denver, look around baseball and hockey, get some big favorites and throw it in, I guess maybe you could do that here. But at least Denver has some motivation to solidify their spot as the 3 seed in the Western Conference. So they have not locked that in. They would very much like to do that. So there's some motivation there. I'm kind of surprised. I mean, the total's up to 246.5, and it's some spots it's still rising to like 247.5. If you get this beatdown that you largely expect, at some point the dogs get called off, and maybe you can get this to go under the total. Maybe that's an in-game angle more than anything else. The delicate balance during these blowouts in-game is I like to play some of these unders when it's like really lopsided because you just see, you get the total to go up because of the pace of the scoring, but it's so one-sided that eventually the scoring dies down. You can get under the total. But then you get to scrub time, and then you get these guys that are in the game that never get to play, and so what do? Run. They just try to get up and down the floor and try to get out there. There is a delicate balance, but maybe you could find an in-game angle if this total gets up, if the Nuggets just come out ripping and roaring, and you get this total pretty high, maybe to come under. But 246.5 seems pretty high for a spread of 23 and a team that's really got nothing going for it in the Memphis Grizzlies.
Injury-wise, what do people need to know about Timberwolves Magic? We've seen this spread go out from 5.5 in favor of Orlando to 9.5, total 228.5.
A lot of guys out for Minnesota, and a questionable that does matter. Mike Conley is out. Ayo Dosunmu is out. Anthony Edwards remains sidelined. Julius Randle is out. And the two questionables, Rudy Gobert and Jaden McDaniels. So this seems like one where the Timberwolves, with all of the injuries that they are dealing with, seem to be content to rest some guys against an Eastern Conference opponent. And they're all but not locked in, but it doesn't seem like they're going anywhere here in the Western Conference standings. Because of injuries and inconsistent play, they're sitting at the 6th seed. They're not going to fall into the play-in. They're 3 games back of Houston with about 3 games left to play. They're pretty much content, and I think resting some guys and getting them ready for the postseason. And that's why Orlando, who still has plenty to play for. This is one of those, week 18 NFL situations, Stormy. One team's got nothing and is resting everybody. One team has motivation because they are still just a game out of getting out of that play-in space. That would be Orlando. But do you trust the Magic? They have been laying some big numbers down the stretch here. They haven't really taken care of business. Yes, they've won 4 out of their last 5. Phoenix, Dallas, New Orleans, Detroit. So maybe they're starting to turn things around. But this has been a team that in the bigger picture, I have not trusted from an ATS standpoint, especially with some of these bigger numbers. But Minnesota, more than willing to rest guys, take the loss because they have nothing to worry about.
2 games that we didn't hit on but will in the next half hour. OKC laying 7.5 against your Clippers, total 227.5, and the Mavs and Suns going head-to-head. That bet up from 10.5 to 11.5 in favor of Phoenix, total 231.5.
Just worth pointing out, all 4 of those teams are on second legs of back-to-backs. We don't have clear injury reports yet, and so we're waiting to see what's going on.
So we'll touch on that a little bit later on, but first, we're going to get back to our Masters conversation. Excited to have Jason Lisk join us next on the program. Content and analysis for team rankings, break down all things Augusta coming up after this.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools. But what they don't want you to know is that you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. VSiN Pro gives you access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Just tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We're less than 24 hours out from Green Jacket Chase getting underway. The Masters teeing off tomorrow, and the VSiN High Stakes Masters Challenge on Splash Sports is your chance to prove you know this field better than anyone. It's a $500 entry, 100,000 guaranteed fantasy tiers contest built specifically for golf bettors. Entry closes tomorrow, though, at 7:40 a.m. Eastern, so don't wait. If you want more information, you want to come join up, head over to splashsports.com/VSiN and use the promo code VSIN for a 50% deposit match up to $100, a free $20 quick picks entry, and a 100% quick picks boost as well. Again, splashsports.com/VSiN, promo code VSIN. And it is such a unique and fun way to bet a major event like this as we welcome you back here to Money Moves. Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. And to get a little bit more insight into how the contest works and maybe some golfers to take a dive into, Jason Lisk joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line, content and analysis over there at Team Rankings. You can follow him on X as well at Jason Lisk. Appreciate you making some time for us today. And let's get started just big picture on this contest and kind of how it all works, I guess, for anybody who wants to get involved.
Yeah, this is it looks like there's 72 spots left if you want to jump in. $500 entry fee. About 2/3 full right now. We know it'll pick up through the evening, and so I feel comfortable saying it's a lock to fill at 223. I do feel confident in that. So get in if you want in. $500 entry fee, $100,000 total prize pool, a little over $20K to first, top 25 spots pay out. Min cash is $1,000, so double your entry if you can finish top 25, which is about top 10% of the pool. So the structure is 6 tiers of golfers, 10 golfers in the top 5 tiers. So your top 50 golfers are kind of split, right? You got Scheffler, DeChambeau, Rahm, etc. in the top tier. Then you're going to have a second, third, fourth, fifth tier. And then the final tier will be your catch-all with everybody else in the field. You got to make 6 picks, 1 from each of those tiers. You get to throw out 1. You get to throw out your worst score, but missing the cut is a huge penalty in this contest. You want to avoid missed cuts. The winner will come from the entry that gets 5 live golfers to the weekend and then has the best golfers on the weekend from that group of that gets 5 live in. I don't think you're going to win this pool if you missed a couple cuts. It's going to be too big a barrier. So you got to find guys that'll be playing on penalty.
Just to follow up on that 8-stroke penalty for anybody who misses the cut.
Yeah, it's really punitive. I mean, because they try to make it so because obviously some guys playing the weekend could go +8 on a Saturday, right? So they're going to make the penalty at least as high as like some of the worst scores on Saturday. So yeah, you're going to need to find golfers. You're probably going to need to find the winner, and you're going to need to find a couple other top 10 types guys, and then round it out with guys that make the cut to have a chance.
You can go to VSiN.com. You check out an article, which is absolutely fantastic, helping you break down some strategies for contests like this. So let's start at the very top because I think a lot of people would assume, well, it's an easy hit rate to get some of the best golfers here, but there is a massive importance for what you're doing here in the top tier, is there not?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the top tiers, these can break any number of ways, right? You could have a guy who we've seen it at the Masters. The winner goes low and may win it by 3 or 4 strokes. If that happens, you're going to need that guy because that 4-stroke difference is going to really matter in that tier. Or you could have several guys that finish, a couple of these golfers could finish right next to each other. So the tier that ultimately wins, it's going to be the one where there's a big separation between, finishing really well and then others in the tier that are in the top tier. Are they mediocre? Most of these guys are going to make the cut in the top tier, but are they 40th? Are they not really in contention? Are they 8 strokes back? That's going to hurt you. So you got to find the guys who can win, but you also have to balance who you think is going to be popular. And that's where winning a contest with 220 other people, you got to balance that.
And that's what I was going to say is kind of the strategy element that comes into something like this as well. Yes, you want to pick guys that are going to perform well, but not necessarily the guys that you think other people are taking because you want to be able to have that advantage when all is said and done. As we look through that first tier, Jason, who are some of those golfers that you would want to have your pick on?
Well, Scotty, Rahm, and Bryson are your 3 betting favorites in the Masters, right? And we project them to be somewhere around 60%-ish picked in this tier collectively. Scotty, the most popular. Which means over half the pool is probably going to be on one of those 3. And so you can play it any number of ways. You could take one of the top 3, know you're going to be on a more popular side and you're trying to differentiate elsewhere later in your other tiers. Or you can go with a Xander in the middle of this tier who's not going to be overly popular but gives you a decent, leverage against the top 3 guys. He can win it. Or you can go with guys like Cam Young, Matt Fitzpatrick, who are probably going to be pretty low owned in this one. You might have 10, less than 15 people entries total on one of those golfers and give yourself a decent chance if they do cash at the Masters.
All right, middle tiers. I think this is probably where you make your money. Tiers 2, tiers 3, you get still some high-level golfers, and yet you've got to make some important decisions. So walk us through what maybe some of the bigger names here on the tiers 2 and 3. Personally, I like Hideki Matsuyama. He's been my guy for a while. And then you get the Collin Morikawa thing hanging over this entire tournament, too, whether or not he's going to be healthy.
Yeah, I think Morikawa for me is probably especially in this format, I mean, the downside risk of Morikawa withdrawing, of just not playing well, is pretty high. So I'd be concerned there personally. I expect him to be less popular because of that. So, I mean, there may be a leverage player out there among you who's like, oh, fine, I'll be the guy on Collin. But I personally would probably be scared off there because I don't want to lose it with one single pick. I want to, and I think there's good golfers in this tier. You mentioned Hideki. We think Hideki and Minwoo Lee are going to be the most popular out of this tier. But I think there's 5 guys up top, 4 guys to 5. I would put Patrick Reed and Justin Rose with those two as kind of the best odds to win this group or give you the best score out of this group. But they're also going to be moderately popular. So I think you're probably deciding amongst those unless you want to get really contrarian down at the bottom. I love Akshay, but he got thrown into tier 2, and that one concerns me. I would have loved him in tier 3.
In tier 3, I know Jacob Bridgman is somebody that's gotten a lot of talk this week, so I anticipate he's probably popular. We had our own Kelly Bidlin on the program earlier, very complimentary of Siwoo Kim and how his game could potentially fit what we're going to see out here at the Masters. Are those two looking like the most popular in this tier? Or if not, who is? Where would you look?
Yeah, we're not projecting Bridgman for that high of popularity because I do think that enough people are scared off of Masters rookies. That said, we think Goddard will be the more popular of the 2 rookies.
Yeah.
Actually, there's 3 rookies. Griffin hasn't played either. But Goddard we project is the more popular. He's got the lowest number at most outrights. But Siwoo, this is going to be a spread out tier with nobody really super chalky. But you'll see Siwoo draw picks. You'll see Spieth draw picks. Goddard, Nikolai Højgaard has been in good form. Those are the guys I think will draw the most picks. And then it's, do you want to go down to a Bridgman, who's a rookie, or a Tyrrell Hatton, who's probably going to be lowly picked, right? Or a Cantlay, who nobody seems super excited to pick, but may be unpopular. Those are kind of the choices in tier 3, I think.
So I would assume, and you can answer this, when we get deeper, tier 4, tier 5, tier 6, I'm shooting for guys who want to make the cut, right? I mean, are you looking for guys who are going to win this thing? Because, again, for how penalizing it is to get somebody to miss the cut, I assume you're trying to be pretty safe with some of these deep shots, but how do you handle some of these lower-tiered golfers?
Yeah, I mean, that is how you want to think about it, I think, with a 220, 220 entries-ish. That said, Justin Rose, I believe, was a tier 4 golfer last year at this time in similar contest at Splash. Yeah. And he was a difference maker because he finished second. But this tier 4 is probably a vital one because you're going to have 3 or 4 of these guys miss the cut. And you're going to have a couple surprise top 10s out of this group, I would predict. It's a very veteran-heavy group and very spread out. It's got Jason Day, Adam Scott, Justin Thomas, Shane Lowry. Lots of question marks, lots of veterans. Question marks for one reason or the other, whether it's course form or recent play or just like how they looked.
Last thing before we let you go, anybody who's just trying to get involved in a contest like this for the first time, what's your best advice as we head out here?
I would balance. Like, you can take popular golfers. Here's my advice: build an entry that works well together. If you want Scheffler, find unique and take contrarian stands elsewhere. If you want to go with like a Cam Young or a Matt Fitzpatrick, you can take, the more popular picks from tier 2 or 3. So balance it out with 220. You don't have to get super crazy. There are thousands of combos of entries, so you can build a good solid entry, right? Of playing decent golfers. Just stay off the guys who you think are going to get 20 or 30% pick popularity steam. Because if you could avoid them, if they do miss the cut, that has an outsized impact on your chances to shoot up the pool if you can stay off the popular people that fail.
Really great breakdown, Jason. Thank you so much for the time today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Jason Lisk, everybody. And again, up at VSiN.com right now, Jason and his team put together a great breakdown on how to approach the VSiN High Stakes Masters Challenge with Splash Sports. $500 entry. Once again, $100,000 in guaranteed cash prizes. Draft one golfer from each of those tiers. Top 5 scores count. Lowest combined score across all 4 wins.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We've gone final out there in Pittsburgh. Padres end up getting the win. 8-2 was a short -113 money line favorite in the bounce back spot after losing to Paul Skeens and company yesterday. Over that 7.5 ultimately cashes as well. We are nearing the end in Royals Guardians. Cleveland up 5-2 at home right now in the top of the 8th. Red Sox still up 3-0 over the Brewers. Tie game out there in Chicago between the Orioles and White Sox at 2. Still scoreless in Mariners Rangers, and we are underway in both Dodgers Blue Jays and Astros Rockies. Just in the first inning though, no score. So we will keep tabs on that, though, this final half hour. As welcome back here, Money Moves, Stormy, Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you, SiriusXM, channel 158, iHeartRadio, the VSiN Watch app, wherever you're watching or listening. We appreciate it. We do have a couple more games set to get underway here in short order, JVT, including the Phillies and Giants. Was that a game at all that was on your radar today?
A little bit here. I apologize. I'm not ignoring you. One of the things we've talked about with some of these betting apps is the ability to maybe search some of your open tickets. Because I'm trying to find.
Are you trying to go through futures right now?
Yeah, well, I have a Chris Goddard ticket from a while ago that I was trying to find.
Was it on the Masters? Or?
Yeah, well, I wanted to get the odds because I know it's not the best number now because he's available at like 51, but I bet it like a month ago or so. Okay. We were on Pot of the Future, so I apologize. I found it. Phillies and Giants. Yes, I would say that there is some interest here. First off, it's baseball, so why not? But really, it's the pitching matchup, and specifically Tyler Mahle, who is getting the start for the San Francisco Giants. Mahle's been a dude that in the past in his career, I've been pretty interested in. Back in 2025, he pitched 86 2/3 for the Texas Rangers and put together some pretty good numbers. 2.18 ERA. Fielding independent, some of the expected metrics a little bit higher, so maybe last year a little lucky. Strikeout stuff wasn't really great a season ago, and the command had gone up, so maybe this was a dude on top of the batting average of balls in play being well below average, that he was probably due for some regression. And then sure enough, we get this year in which over the course of 2 starts, he has been not really great, specifically the last start out there against the Mets, got dinged around here, 23 batters faced, gave up 2 home runs, only struck out 4, walked 2. So not really in the greatest position. We know what Nola is at this point. We know what this lineup can be. I know it's out in San Francisco, so I don't know if the homer issues that you had against the Mets pop up again, but those were at home for Mahle. So I think that this is pretty accurately priced when we're talking about like $1.36 in favor of Philly, given what we have seen in recent form for Mahle, and frankly, what we have seen from the San Francisco Giants for the most part over the course of a larger sample size after a tough start to the year. Opened up -147, though, at some spots. I can understand if you want to cut that down as a better, if you think the plus price is a little too much. Circa opened up 137. We're at like 130 right now. Still plus price, so plus 117. No real big movement whatsoever. So interest in watching, but didn't really feel like there was a strong angle one way or the other.
Well, talk me through anything else in the slate that did catch your attention. I know we're gonna get to best bets at the end of the hour, but where else would you recommend looking on this afternoon slate?
Okay, well, so one of the things that we should talk about obviously was yesterday, and actually the last few days for baseball, the bets that I have had haven't gotten there, but like the angles have been correct. So let's go back 2 nights ago. Jansen Junk, right? One of my big thoughts, and I think this is maybe it was when you left, but I thought it was the other day. Either way, I'm like, you know what? Junk should put together a pretty good performance here against the Reds. The lineup stinks. They're a soft hitting group. They're not going to be able to get there. Junk is great. Pitches 7 1/3, shutout ball, or no, excuse me, gives it 2 runs. Doesn't get any run support. They lose 2-0. So I lose that bet. So I'm correct in believing in Jansen Junk, but not correct in the ultimate result. Let's go back to yesterday where I take another shot with the Miami Marlins, lay $1.40, and I'm like, Sandy Alcantara should be able to hold this lineup down. Hopefully they get a little better run support. Sure enough, it's 2-0 going into the 9th. What happens? The Reds get 2 in the 9th and then ultimately win in extras, lose the bet. Even though I'm right, that Alcantara was right. So I bring this up because let's go to Yankees and Athletics if we could and pull this one up, because Will Warren's going to get the start against Luis Severino and the Athletics. Severino last year, home road splits were pretty good in terms of he was better away from home than he was back there in that minor league park. I am conflicted because I think Warren can come in here and perform relatively well. If you look at some of the numbers for Will Warren, he's one of these guys, Stormy, that will pitch to contact a bit, does give up some hard contact, has pretty lucky in terms of balls in play, and that's why you see some of the discrepancies. Through 2 starts, 2.70 ERA, 4.55 fielding independent, but the expected ERA is floating around 2.83. The expected fielding independent is 3.43. Like, there is some really good signs here that with a little bit of better luck in terms of the fly balls going out of the park, that he's going to be a guy that I think is really worth backing. And his 2 starts that he's had to this point are pretty strong. So I say all of this to say, maybe instead of betting the Yankees, who are a massive favorite today and have been bet up from like $1.80 all the way up to -220 at one point before getting bet back down, then maybe I should be, because I focus so much on these pitchers, looking at some over-under earned runs props a little bit more for guys like Warren and others who I like. So that's one that I think I'm going to be really interested in a little bit later today. It doesn't start until 4 o'clock, a normal start time, but betting Warren under his total earned runs allowed, I think might be worth looking at here today. The number, by the way, is 1.5, so it's a little rich for my blood at plus 112. I'd like 2.5 is what I thought it was going to be, but I think this is the way I'm going to start to approach things here for each one of these games. I like handicapping these pitchers so much that maybe I should just focus on them as opposed to trying to get some of these results.
Well, and it does seem like you kind of pick your moments of where it's going to work, because a lot of, at least the pricing for this game in particular, is very similar still to the Yankees money line price. If you wanted to do the 2 or fewer, it's still minus 220 on Warren. Same thing if you wanted to approach it with a first 5 angle, it's minus 210. When your money line for the full game is minus 219, it's like you're not finding any added value for some of those alternate angles. So you really have to dig a little bit deeper than maybe you normally would. But like you said, on at least the 1 or fewer, you're getting a plus 112, you said?
Yes. Yeah. Plus 112.
Yeah.
The other
so search around.
Yes. I was going to say the other game too, if you're interested. Angels are getting played here today a little bit against the Braves, and I would kind of agree with that. Adam Burke and I, we do share nerdy texts about baseball here and there, and one of the things that we've talked about a lot is Reed Detmers, and Detmers' ability, if he could find the right guy to really help him hone his game. And when Burke was with us yesterday, really hit a lot on pitching pitching coaches and their ability to change some things. And Warren so far this year, Detmers so far this year, has, through 2 starts, looked pretty solid. Strikeout stuff is there. Command issues are right in line with where he was a season ago. I think what you really like so far with Detmers is the fact that, again, we always bring these up, or I always talk about these, the hard contact, what it looks like. Through the early portion of the season so far, he's only given up 1 barrel, which is very good. Not a lot of hard contact. He's generating swings and misses. I think that you've got something with both Soriano and Detmers that maybe the Angels, remember we talked about this at the beginning of the season where it was kind of unlikely that like all of the upside was going to hit at once, but maybe you're getting the upside of Soriano and Detmers here, and that those 2 guys are worth playing on in these situations. And I think Detmers might be one of those guys here again. It's a short plus price again, but they're getting played. And I think at home, Angels might be worth backing with Detmers on the hill because the early going has been pretty solid for him. So again, Circa opened up minus 136 in favor of the Braves, plus 116 on the other side. They're down to minus 117, plus 105. Total 8.5, shaded to the over ever so slightly at minus 115. But I think Detmers would put them in a pretty good position to get this done against Holmes and the Braves.
Can they get the post-brawl bounce back?
Yeah.
We shall see. Also, just coming off of that Will Warren conversation, I do think it is worth noting right now up at VSiN.com, for a limited time, we are giving free unlimited access to all of our pro tools. So right now, if you go over to VSiN.com, completely free, again, no subscription needed, you can access our MLB and NBA prop projections tools powered by Opta AI. You get real-time betting splits as well right now for free from both DraftKings and Circa. All of these pro tools, no cost, but it is only for a limited time. So go check them out. See if you like what we're doing over there at the site. It's really helpful, I think, to get a gauge for maybe some prop angles that you're trying to look at. Again, that's VSIN.com to get invested in there. We talked earlier in the NBA about some of these teams on the second half of back-to-back. Obviously, OKC coming off of a very dominant win, to say the least, against the Lakers. They've got your Clippers today. 7.5-point spread. Any interest in that game one way or another?
I mean, a little bit, but we don't know. Let me double-check, because these injury reports are now getting updated every 15 minutes. So let's see if we have an update here. Yeah, you said
because of the back-to-back, for anybody who doesn't realize, the injury reports are a little bit slower to come out.
Yeah, well, especially because these are the late games, right? Yep. So we don't have anything. So we do have the Mavericks injury report for at least that Suns game. For this one, unclear what's going to happen. I would think that Kawhi plays today, though. He does have to appear and play in the, I don't know where he's at with that stupid whatever, play 15 minutes and get involved. But from what I've read, he has to appear and play in these 3 games at the end of the year to qualify. And he would have a really strong case for first-team All-NBA. I don't know about so much all the other awards and whatnot. So keep that in mind as we move forward here with the Clippers and wait for the injury reports. For the Mavericks, though, tonight, Cooper Flagg's going to be out there. And then a lot of doubtfuls. Najee Marshall, Caleb Martin, Daniel Gafford. So we'll see if the other names are going to be out there. Klay Thompson, P.J. Washington. Do you go back to the well? It failed yesterday. Cooper Flagg, points, rebounds, and assists.
Just keep trying.
I guess, but the numbers are so high, and you're a little behind the 8 ball. And shockingly enough, Stormy, after a weekend in which he combined for nearly 100 points, the points, rebounds, and assist props are very high.
They went up?
Yeah.
What?
Shockingly enough, there's been an adjustment.
The Rookie of the Year market, by the way, that Cooper Flagg number continues to grow in favor of him. Minus 290, your current price on DraftKings. Con Knippel, when we were talking about this earlier this week with Raheem Palmer on the program, he's around plus 150. You can get plus 210 right now on on Con Knippel if you think something happens there. Very bummed again. I know I said it earlier that the Hornets weren't able to get that win yesterday against Boston. They fall to the 9 seed now in the play-in of that Eastern Conference, and obviously you want to, if you can, be in the best positioning there. So we'll see how it all plays out still with a couple games here to go. We got to step aside. We're wrapping things up next, giving out our best bets for the day and some Masters plays as we get set for Augusta tomorrow morning.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
All right, we're wrapping up this Wednesday edition of Money Moves live from downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. Stormy, Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. You're wowing. What are we wowing about?
Well, as I mentioned to you off the air, this Texas-Seattle game is moving pretty quick.
Yep.
And so I was looking, hey, what time did this start? Because I feel like it was relatively recent. Yeah, it was 11:35 actually, and we're already in the bottom of the 5th inning. So this thing is cruising along, and we have the pitcher's duel that the market and we expected so far. Mackenzie Gore, 5 innings, 1 hit, 9 strikeouts. That's good for your boy because he is maybe a starter on my fantasy team. And Brian Wu, 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, 2 strikeouts, but is moving through this quick and has been very efficient in terms of giving up contact. Only 42 pitches so far for Brian Wu. Gore's at 82, so we'll see. Yesterday I got burned. How about this? Nobody cares. But the dreaded 5 2/3 if you don't know off the top of your head. So our league has a quality start, so you need a quality start until you get points. It's a point category. And yesterday, our guy Noah Cameron, who started against Adam Burke's Cleveland Guardians, you need 6 innings for a quality start. He was going to get it, but they pull him with 2 outs in the 6th inning, and he doesn't get all 6. So that stinks. Either way, here's your bets from yesterday.
Speaking of going fast, I'd say the show has been going fast. We're already at the best bet segment of the day, which is good. We've had so much live game action to get into. Lots of games, obviously, with the NHL and NBA final weeks of the regular season in tow. I had 2 bets yesterday, 1 and 1. So bummed on the Cole Caulfield anytime goal. He has an assist on the first goal of the game and played really well. Ended up having a goal in what was a shootout at the end of this thing, but obviously that doesn't count toward any of these props or what you're looking for. So that was a little bit of a bummer to lose. Meanwhile, Flyers as a dog come through with flying colors, 5-1. Easy win against the New Jersey Devils yesterday. Trevor Zegras, Tyson Forcer both scored twice. Great, productive day for them. Flyers have been on an awesome run here down the stretch, which has put them pretty firmly in that 3rd spot now in the division. So a big deal as they've tried to kind of cement their standing a little bit more after not having been in the playoff picture since January. This week they're in. Can they maintain it? They're sure playing like they can. Pushing it forward to today, I do have a couple bets in pocket here. Looking to the Oilers Sharks, we talked about it a little bit earlier. I am on the over 6.5 in this one. It's pretty juicy at -125, but I think it's worthwhile. We mentioned how in games like this, where points are at a premium, wins are so important in the Sharks' case to make the postseason field. Oilers trying to ultimately win the Pacific Division. Maybe you get more of a playoff style game where it's tighter checking, more defensive. I just don't think that's going to happen in this case. Edmonton, for all of the good that they had defensively for however long, seems to have just totally gone out the window lately. They lose a bad game to the Vegas Golden Knights on Saturday. They fall in a high-scoring 6-5 game in overtime yesterday to the Mammoth, second half of a back-to-back. Yet, for all of their defensive issues, they largely, if you look through their recent history, haven't had a whole lot of problems scoring either against a Sharks team that, while they're better scoring at home, defensively don't have a lot to write home about. So I feel like the over 6.5 feels like a meanwhile play to go in that one. Caps, Maple Leafs as well. I'm biting the bullet on the -155 money line. I find it so hard to believe they won't win this game against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Leafs are dead. Lost 3 of 4, 6 of their last 9. Nothing to play for. Caps had the ugly loss to New York over the weekend. Need a bounce back to stay somewhat in that conversation about the wild card. Is it unlikely? Are the chances slim? Yes, but they're well rested in this spot. They want to win. They took the previous 2 against Toronto already this season. 4-2, 4-0. I think they do it again today. I didn't get to a play on Sabres Rangers, but if I were to bet anything in this one, I think it would be the under here. The Rangers are playing some pretty good hockey lately, and defense has really been the difference for them through this stretch. In 5 of the last 6 games, they've given up just 1 goal in each, haven't allowed more than 8 quality chances in 4 straight games in 7 of their last 8. Sabres have taken a bit of a step back here since obviously they had a great game the other day against Tampa Bay. They're tops in the Atlantic Division right now, and they still have some things that they want to play for. I do feel like we get a little bit of a tighter game, even though the Rangers are out of it. They have not packed it in at all. They've been playing really well lately.
No golf?
No golf. I'm probably going to by the end of the day. But I haven't. I wasn't one of those people that was adding to my Masters portfolio throughout the year. I really dropped the ball on that. So today I think I'm going to tinker and make some plays. But you, I know, have a bunch.
You're going to give me all this crap about golf and not have anything for the Masters, first major.
I'm sorry. I must have missed something where my New Year's resolution was to bet every PGA Tour event.
You did miss something.
Oh, wait. No, that was you.
That
was you who did that. Meanwhile, I've bet several tournaments this year.
You did.
And you have not.
You did miss something last 2 weeks. Yeah, you haven't been here.
Oh, grow up.
Here we go. All right, wherever you would like me to go, let's go with the betting recap first. Way to show up, huh? The Ducks, 5-0.
Yeah.
That wasn't even close. Hockey, not my game. Marlins money line, we mentioned this, -140, get the loss. Rangers money line, even money. They rally, get a 3-2 win. So
I thought you were about to say baseball, not my game.
Well, that one, tough start, but I like, just like with baseball in general, larger sample size. We'll get this done at the beginning of the year. Yeah. For today, the bets, we'll talk about golf first and foremost. That is the most important as we like them. So I added a few because it's the Masters. You got to have some golf. So we got some outrights here to play and have some fun with the track. John Rahm will be on my list of golfers at 10-1. Guys that I really do like here as well. But Rahm fits the bill. We've talked a lot about the trends that fit some of these guys. Rahm in Tyndall's article was the top guy. Outside of not being in his 20s, he fits almost every single category. I think it's going to be a big week for him. I'll feel pretty good tracking Rahm. Tommy Fleetwood, Fairway Jesus, 22-1. We are in on Tommy. Let's do this thing. I think he can get it done. He fits the mold of a guy who can have some success here. Believe that he can have that success. He is my white whale. He is after Hideki Matsuyama. Mats finally got it from him many years ago. Tommy, we're banking on you to get it here. I will take the risk. Colin Morikawa, 35-1. Course history is there. We just don't know about the back injury.
Yeah.
He says he's going to play. And again, we played the clip from him yesterday. Actually didn't mention the back. Said it felt fine. It was the other parts of his body. Maybe the undulations of the course and having to walk it will make a big difference here. Either way, Morikawa will take the risk. Jordan Spieth, 45-1. I have him like every time. The course history is too much to ignore. Spieth has done well here. And this is from many months ago. You can actually now get him at 55-1. This was near the peak of his powers. Chris Gotterup at 40-1 to win the Masters. So those are my outrights for Augusta. And hold on really quick.
Sure.
Major League Baseball, Angels, money line tonight, +107. Let's go.
Any concerns with Gotterup of this being the Masters debut? And we talk so much about how experience is important at this course.
None whatsoever. I think he's going to be fine to win the whole thing.
Okay, boom.
Yes, I think obviously history would tell you that is a problem. He
is the only player to enter the Masters with multiple PGA Tour wins at this point in the season. So he's got that under his belt. He's had a meteoric rise. Yep. Young. I know youth is something that's very important for everybody. So maybe
youth.
Maybe the rookie angle's not so bad after all.
Maybe not so much. Although let me see if I can find. Yeah, let's see. McIlroy 16 attempts overall. 8 of the last 10 winners had played in at least 3 Masters.
Okay.
So that does matter.
I know Kelly wasn't particularly keen on the price that's available for Xander Schauffele, but the way that he talked about him and feeling like the confidence of him to be able to do some work for him in terms of like the top 10s and stuff and the numbers that you were able to get on him. Maybe that could be an angle that I look to. You know, I like these San Diego State opportunities when I can get them. He didn't talk about Bryson DeChambeau.
Paige Spiranac fan as well.
Who isn't? Bryson DeChambeau is another guy that I know that he and like nobody on the Long Shots crew really liked this week, which, by the way, if you are looking for an in-depth preview, we have so much stuff, not only at VSiN.com. Wes Reynolds has a full breakdown of the entire field and angles and trends, but also the Long Shots podcast, wherever you get your podcast. It is a must listen to for all of these events, but especially a major like this at Augusta, full detailed breakdown of everything that you need there. None of those guys liked Bryson DeChambeau, and not that they don't like him, but they didn't end up having outright picks on him. Yep. At a double-digit number, he might be somebody that I add to my portfolio as well. I've got a few that I need to vet out and think through a little bit more tonight.
Got to ruminate
A little bit. I'm excited, though, because throughout the course of the week, obviously, we're going to have live action on the screen that we can talk through and some of the live betting opportunities.
By the way.
Whoa.
So
what?
you just sparked something in me. So I was watching basketball last night, and like one of the big advertisements was, hey, this is going to, Masters coverage starting early on Prime. Your first 2 hours, you're going to get an early look at this. Blah, blah. You know what the start time is for the early look at the Masters?
What?
10 o'clock our time, 1 Eastern. You know when the first golfers get out on the course for us? It's like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I will complain about this every year with these tournaments until it stops. Hey, welcome to the Super Bowl. We're in the midst of the second quarter. Thanks for joining us, and too bad you couldn't get the first quarter because we just don't broadcast it.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
It does not make sense at all. Top of the board for the Masters to the surprise of no one. Scottie Scheffler available at plus 510. This number has grown, by the way, which we read the quote from Jeff Sherman yesterday at the Westgate that there has not been a ton of support for Scottie Scheffler like usual. John Rahm, your second shot, 9-1. The aforementioned DeChambeau around plus 1050. Rory McIlroy, your defending champ. Can he be the first back-to-back Masters winner since Tiger, plus 1175. That is a wrap for us. Excited to dive into all of this live tomorrow. Out there from Augusta, Stormy Buonantony, JVT. Follow the money coming up next with Mitch and Paul. Enjoy and get locked and loaded. Busy day. All sports across the board today.
We're going to hold hands.
Oh, let's go. Not awkward at all, because that's totally things coworkers do. Neither here nor there. Bye.